Hi, my name is Jasmine and I'm here at Parliament House Victoria to spend the day with the Manager of Opposition Business, James Newbury. Would you like to introduce yourself today?
I'm James Newbury. I represent Brighton in the Victorian Parliament, and good morning, everybody. We've just started our day. We've talked about the issues that are happening in Victoria. I'm the Manager of Opposition Business. Now, what that means is I help organise what happens in Parliament for the Coalition, the Liberal Party and the National Party. I'm just off to our first big meeting with all of our MPs so that we can plan for the day.
So the whole team meets first thing in the morning because the Parliament has a program of what happens in the day. So we meet as a team to talk through what happens throughout the day.
So James, I'd love to know how the Parliament works and what the rules of the Parliament are.
So the Parliament has what's called standing orders. It's just a set of rules around how the Parliament works, and as members of Parliament we've agreed on those rules over time. This is what they are. These are called the standing orders, and it's a set of rules, and the Speaker, who sits at the top of the room, her job is to make sure we all follow the rules. On top of those rules we have what's called rulings from the Chair, and they are different rules that different speakers over time have talked about. So the two things together are how the Parliament work, and so when I get up and do points of order, what I'm doing is referring to these rules and saying, Speaker, I feel like this rule has been broken. Would you mind intervening and make sure the other side does the right thing?
We're in the chamber of the lower house of Parliament, so there are 88 members of Parliament who represent all of the communities in Victoria, and this is where we all sit. This is where the Leader of the Opposition sits, and the Premier sits over there, the Speaker, who keeps us in order, makes sure that we're not doing anything wrong. She sits here.
So you're the Opposition Business Manager. What are your primary responsibilities and roles?
So I help make sure that our team does what we want it to do, help make sure that during question time we ask the questions that keep the government held to account, and just generally in terms of what we do in this chamber as a team is as we want it to be.
Manager of Opposition Business on a point of order.
Speaker, on relevance, without repeating the question asked when the Minister discussed a particular matter.
Order. Point of order, Manager of Opposition Business.
On relevance, the Minister has restated that fact, but he has not come to the question, which was the date of the
Order.
meeting.
Can you go into a bit more detail on what points of orders are and who can make them?
So any member of Parliament can take a point of order. It's actually a rule of the Parliament that any member can take a point of order. Oftentimes, me as Manager of Opposition Business takes the lead on points of order, but any member can. And the government has what's called the Leader of the House, which is my opposite number, and they take points of order usually for the government's side. So anyone can do it, but usually it's the two people across the chamber in those two jobs. And the reason why we often do it is because we do it more. We understand the rules of the chamber a bit more, and so we can refer to specific rules because we've talked about them a lot, and we can ask the Speaker to rule on the issue that we're raising. Community groups from around Victoria come into Parliament each day, and they meet with members of Parliament. Right now, we've got the leaders of the Jewish community in meeting with John Pesutto, the Leader of the Opposition, and David Southwick, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, about anti-Semitism and the importance of having an inclusive state. And so we're meeting with that group now.
So why are we here today?
So we're in Queen's Hall. Different community groups from around Victoria come in and hold exhibitions so that we as members of Parliament and the community can come in. You can see everyone's happy because we've got a big exhibition going on about health and all various types of health, whether it be young children, women, what have you. So Vic Health are here at the moment, but we have different groups come in all the time. We've had nurseries, we've had flowers, we've had people from around the state coming and showing their wares. It's a fantastic opportunity for community groups to come in here, but also for members of Parliament to see and make sure they know what's happening around the state.
What has inspired you to dedicate your career to representing the people in that community?
I absolutely love my community. I think the core of being a Member of Parliament is being the voice of your community. So in my case, 65,000 people live in my electorate, what's called an electorate, and they vote for me. They voted for me to represent them. But when they vote for someone, whoever it is, they're effectively voting to lift that person up to be their voice. That's how I see it metaphorically. And so it's an incredible opportunity to have to be the voice of that community and to be able to speak on their behalf. And that's what I've chosen to do in my career.
So James, what happened at the end of today?
So we voted on the bills, the new laws that the government have proposed, and we did that at 5 o'clock today, which is the normal practice. But what the government did today, which they have almost never done before, is they extended the Parliament sitting. So normally the Parliament finishes for the day at 5 o'clock on Thursdays, but they've extended the sitting. And because we're in the middle of a really big debate, I'm going to run back in and make sure that we keep representing our communities.